What's up, gamers? My name's Patty Fatty Cake, and I've been playing this game on and off for the entirety of my adult life and most of my adolescenthood. And this time, I've pretty much experienced it all. In this video, I want to focus on making money. In the past, I have made several videos that focus on early game moneymakers, but in this one, I want to focus on the mid game. Go to the bathroom, wash off those Cheeto fingers, because I guarantee that nobody is going to agree on what mid game actually is. Really, I can't define it that well. I swear there's going to be people down in the comments section below that are saying these are too advanced to be mid-tier, and then there's 100% going to be other people that are just going to tell me that these are actually early game moneymakers. So smash out some shitty comment down in the comment section below, like the video, and stripe yourself in while we go over my 5 favorite mid-game moneymakers. Alright, before I said that I can't really define it, but I can, let's quickly define what I am proposing as mid-game. I am going to say that things are mid-game that are easily doable with mid-game stats and gear. I'm talking about like 80s combat stats and like Bandos to God Wars dungeon tier gear, you know, like not too expensive, not too crazy on the stats. Yes, I know some turbo cracked outlier that you have heard of can probably farm 500s in D'hide, but that's not you. You're watching a mid-game money-making guide. Number 1. First up, we have the classic mid-game moneymakers, Bandos God Wars Dungeon. I would be upset with myself if I did not squeeze this in here, just because it does hold a special nostalgic place in my heart. This is very easily doable with a team. Generally, you can get together with yourself and 2 of your buddies, head on up here. One of you tanks, the other 2 DPSs. You guys kind of like split out supplies, split out the drops at the end, and everybody has a good time. For the sake of this video, I'm going to show you how you can do this one solo very easily. I know I'm trying to keep this to the level of 80s, and obviously higher is going to be better for literally every method in this guide, but this is very easily doable with 80 range. Cool, so super quick, here's our setup. Look at us in our beautiful D'hide. We got Bandos Chaps and Zamorak D'hide body just for the gods types, so we don't have to have them all attacking us all at once, but the rest of it, we got D'hide. Just use your best version of the Avas that you have available. Ideally, the range cape if you do have 99 range, just because it's going to allow you to stay a little bit longer. But yeah, any backpack's going to be fine. The Archer's Ring, not super necessary, but it does give you a little bit extra. And if you cannot afford an Anguish, downgrade to Fury, to Glory, and if you cannot afford a Dragon Crossbow, you can downgrade that to a Rune Crossbow. I did 200 kills on my Iron Man with a Rune Crossbow just fine. In the inventory, we got a Blowpipe. Blowpipe is for getting kill count here, which is very important, and for the minions after the actual boss dies. We do have a little mage switch with Ancients in the pouch. I'm not on Ancients, that's very not good. You should be on Ancients. Basically, for the potions, you're gonna have to figure out what works for you. I am gonna be taking 3 range pots and 3 staminas. You kind of want to equal those out. And the amount of supplies versus staminas and all that are going to be depending on how good you are at the 6-0 method. And the more mistakes that you make, the more brews that you're gonna need, and the less stamina, because you're going to be lasting a lesser amount of time up there. So this isn't going to be a full-blown 6-0 guide. I do recommend that you go onto YouTube and type in Bandos 6-0 guide and follow one of those. They'll be able to teach you how to do the method. It's really simple. There's a little bit of a learning curve at first, but this is definitely the best way to crossbow Bandos. So why Bandos, you might say? According to this wiki article, it's like 3.4 million GP per hour, which is pretty sick. This value is mainly carried by the Bandos armor pieces and the hilt, coming at 30 mil, 21 mil, and 18 mil respectively. Remember, as with all of these, your mileage may vary depending on how many kills per hour, your DPS, if you're coming with a team, how much supplies you use. There's a lot of factors that go into it. But this is a really nostalgic old moneymaker, and I definitely suggest you give it a try. Number 2. Also in the God Wars dungeon, we'll be doing Domin God Wars. I just sold back all of that gear that I just bought for those last clips, so let's go rebuy it, and I'll meet you guys at the God Wars dungeon. Domin requirements, pretty simple. You just need 70 agility to get into the area. I recommend about 80 range. Any better is better. You're going to need access to diamond bolts and stamina potions. This is really only an issue if you're an Iron Man, but you do need both of these. Alright boys, here we are at the Domin God Wars dungeon. Setup pretty much the same as Bandos, and like Bandos, you can do this with a teammate. Basically, the whole idea is that you're trying to stay away from the boss because the melee attacks will shred you. So you're kiting it with range, either solo, you're going to be kiting it around the room. I will link the guide that I like down in the description below. The Bandos one, you can use any old guide, but the guide that I use, I forgot the name of the guy. I'll look it up and it will be down in the comment section below. But basically, you don't have to use stamina if you use these tiles that he has, and with his method, it's super duper sick. You got to check it out. But anyways, with the team, basically you just stand across from each other and make her go in between you two. Super simple. These people are failing at it pretty roughly right now. As you can see, the melee attack's pretty devastating. But yeah, you need the diamond bolts, you kite away from her. And then another popular method, which you bring the blowpipe and the Serp Helm. If you did not know, if you're wearing the Serp Helm and you blowpipe something, it automatically venoms it. So this way you can venom the minions all just by hitting them once. As long as the hit lands something, a 0 doesn't count. You have to actually hit. And then usually I do get kill count at all of the God Wars dungeon, except for this one. Kill count here sucks, so get ecumenical keys for Domin. I would definitely. So I did 5 or so super scuffed kills, and it did not look clean, so I will not be showing that to you. Just click on that guide and check that one out. Anyways, I included this one into the list because it is roughly 3.1 mil per hour, obviously depending on how many you can get done. This is of course carried by 2 main drops, the Armadillo crossbow coming in at 41 mil and the Domin hilt coming in at 19. Oh, I didn't see you there. I have just found this brand new mobile game, which is perfect because that brings me to the sponsor of today's video. Great! Just kidding, I don't have any sponsorships, but please like the video and subscribe to my channel so Senpai will notice me. Number 3. Third, we have the Corrupted Gauntlet. At the very least, you're going to need to be able to complete the Song of the Elves quest. Requirements up on screen. To do Song of the Elves, you need basically level 70 in, like, everything. I do suggest level 80 mage and range to give you a little bit more DPS. You can technically do it at lower levels, but this is going to help you get more consistent completions. And then you are going to need the patience of the gods, because while learning the Corrupted Gauntlet, you're probably going to get pretty frustrated when you plank over and over and over again, unless you're just an absolute Chad gamer. So just gear up for that, be willing to fail, and you will be greatly rewarded. As far as gear requirements go, you're looking at it, you need absolutely nothing for this, as you cannot bring anything into it, and it will all be provided for you inside of the minigame. This is not going to be a full guide on it. I actually do have a full guide that I made quite a while ago. I definitely need to make a new one, but that one is down in the description below. The Corrupted Gauntlet is definitely going to be the most technically difficult piece of content on this list. This piece of content isn't going to just make you money, it's also going to make you a much better gamer. This is a great activity for learning how the tick system works and how to path in RuneScape. But this isn't an account progression guide, this is a money-making guide, and oh, is this great for it. Not only are the regular drops just absolutely cracked, basically this is the only method for making raw GP on Iron Man. Nothing else even comes close. The wiki has this method at 4 mil per hour, that is assuming 10-minute completions. Once you get better at this is carried largely by the enhanced crystal weapon seed coming in at 113 mil and the occasional armor seed at 4 mil each. Don't worry if you do go dry, there are so many alks that drop from this, you're still going to be making a decent enough profit. How about you, Iron Man? Go tell me how dry you are down in the comment section below. Number 4. To absolutely nobody's supplies. To absolutely nobody's surprise, next up we have Vorkath, the Money Dragon. It wouldn't be this list without it on there, it just had to be. And for that, we are going maximum welfare here. We are in the full elite void with Rune Crossbow. Wait, scratch that. We're in the full normal void with Rune Crossbow. Do you like that? We are using a Ruby Bolts E. The only super duper important thing with any setup here, you're gonna want the Salve EI. It's gonna give you a huge DPS boost here, which will allow you to do it in shitty gear like Void. We're also gonna have some Diamond Bolts E to switch to near the end of the fight when the Ruby's effectiveness, the Ruby special just isn't worth using anymore. Another important thing, you are going to want access to the Crumble Undead spell, which is why we have that in the rune pouch. Very, very important. And then you're going to want some ranging potions, some venom protection, and some anti-fire protection, which is why I have the shield and the potion. Doing prayer pots because we're full welfare here, because this is a beginner's type of setup, and yeah, just normal food's good enough. And we're gonna throw some house tabs in there, but I forgot them. So Vorkath is really the only boss on this entire list that is just about the average drops. All the other ones, like, you're chasing the big ones, you're chasing like the purples, the uniques and all that. Vorkath just shits out cash super consistently. There are some like flagship drops that really don't carry the weight here. What carries the weight for Vorkath is all the little shit, all the Alex, all the bones, the dehides, you name it. And that's what makes this so great, is that no matter what, you're gonna be making that money. Results are gonna vary pretty widely depending on gear on this one. The Dragon Hunter Lance is gonna be your best in slot, with the Dragon Hunter Crossbow coming up as a runner-up, but honestly, any piece of this gear that you see me doing this with, if you can upgrade it, do it, because that's going to greatly improve your GP per hour, since this is such a grindy boss. Number 5. The last one up on our list might be a little contentious, but it is coming in at a whopping 7 mil-ish per hour. We have Expert Tombs of a Masket, just the 300 raid level. I know what you're thinking, this is endgame content, not really mid-game, but I do think the 300s, if you pick the right invocations and the right gear and practice hard enough, should definitely be doable with mid-game gear and mid-game stats. As far as the requirements go, I don't really like that I use the word requirement on here, but more like recommendations. I recommend that you have 80s plus combat staffs. You are going to need a powered staff, crossbow, blowpipe, and honestly, if you can shell out for a fang, get it. If not, get another stab weapon like a Hasta. As far as invocations go, it's like really up to you what you want to do. I think this is a really good and easy 300 that somebody who doesn't have that high of stats or gear could be using. Obviously, feel free to switch up and change anything. This would just be my personal preference. And Insanity is off. I know it is free, but if you do have not as good gear, you are going to be on one row for a longer period of time, and without Insanity on, this will minimize that. Going over to the website here, it looks like they have the profit set to 7.6 mil an hour. The stats that they're recommending for this are a little bit higher than I had on my sheet, but not all too much higher, actually. And they're seeing that you get 2 kills per hour, so that's 30-minute 300s. Which is pretty quick, actually, especially for the gear that I recommended in this, so I would definitely bump this down to closer to 5 mil an hour, which is still exceptional for the mid-game. If we are looking at the layout of what drops are really making up the majority of your money, it is massively carried by the Tumican Shadow, which is extremely rare to get. You will make a lot of money in the interim. However, to really be chasing that big number, you will need to do this for a long enough period of time to get a shadow for this to all even out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video has been useful, and if not, I hope it was entertaining to some level for you. If you did enjoy this and want to see more from me, please subscribe to my channel, make sure that you like the video, and I will see you in the next one.